All right. Today we're going to be talking about the Bronze Age. You've got a few questions that you want to answer in your notes. You should be looking at the questions for the Bronze Age. What change marks the beginning of the Bronze Age? So, what was different during this one? When was the Bronze Age? You're going to want to add that to your timeline as well. And then, where did civilizations develop during the Bronze Age? And then, what common traits did these civilizations have? So, what did they have in common? You've got a essential question: which advancement had the greatest impact on people in the Neolithic or Bronze Age? You're going to want to make sure you're giving some evidence to support your selection and thinking about that. So here we have the Bronze Age, around 3000 BCE. Craftspeople in Western Asia learned to make bronze by mixing copper and tin. Bronze was stronger than copper, which allowed people to make stronger tools and weapons. Bronze was expensive. Few people could afford to buy bronze goods, so they continued to use stone weapons and tools. These are some examples that you see. So as civilizations develop, right, culture is growing more complex, and they become civilizations. They have certain characteristics. They live in large urban or city areas. There's something called a specialization of labor. We talked about specialization of jobs. They've got complex institutions, so we see the rise of governments and religion. They begin keeping records, so a historical record. And of course, an advancement in technology, which would include things like pottery and metalworking. So around 3000 BC, four great cities emerged in the river valley cities. The valleys had fertile land for growing crops. The rivers provided fish and water. Trade develops, which caused ideas to spread. These cities grew into civilization. So a couple of examples would be Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China. So governments. Cities formed government to protect themselves and their food supplies. The first governments were monarchies. A monarchy is a government whose ruler inherits the position from a parent, such as a king or queen. So they're born into that family. Rulers built armies for protection and made laws to keep order. They also appointed government officials to manage food supplies and building projects. And then we talk about religion. They developed to help people understand their world. Early religions often believed that nature had spirits, and these gods decided a community's fate. Priests performed rituals to win favor with their gods, and rules often claimed the gods gave them power. How about our social structure? Societies were organized into groups. People's status was defined by their occupation or their jobs or what they did for work, how much money they had, and power. Rulers, priests, government officials, and warriors usually made up the highest classes. These groups set the rules and made decisions for the rest of society. The middle class was made up of free people, including farmers, artisans, and craftspeople. And then there were enslaved people. They were at the bottom of society. They were often enemies who had been captured during wars. So some of the other characteristics. Writing develops in civilizations. Early writing systems use symbols instead of letters and words. People use writing to keep stories, writing to keep records and preserve their stories. Art, people made art for both enjoyment and practical purposes. Art often portrayed gods and nature. People designed huge buildings of worship or tombs for kings. And then here are some of the sources. So some of the pictures that you see, these are actual sources of information that tell us this is the truth. All right. So hopefully you've got your notes filled out. Feel free to rewind, go back, do what you need to do. But get this info, and we'll continue our study of the Bronze Age.